In the Viking world, there was a fate worse than death. Vikings had slaves called thralls. They were not temporary prisoners, they were property. A thrall could be sold like merchandise. They could receive physical punishment without any trial. They had no rights, no legal protection, and escaping was almost impossible. Some accounts even describe slaves being sacrificed at their master's funeral. In Viking society, honor was everything, and a thrall had no honor. They were outside the law and outside social humanity. Do you want to know how someone could stop being a thrall? Comment thrall.
Did you know why Vikings mostly drank beer? Believe it or not, beer was safer than water. In the Viking Age, water could easily become contaminated, animal remains or stagnation. They did not know what bacteria were. In contrast, many fermented drinks were safer. Brewing beer involved boiling the water. Alcohol helped preserve it, and that reduced risks. If something made people sick, they avoided it. Do you want to know how strong their beer really was? Comment mead.
Did you know that Thor had his death marked before his birth? Jörmungandr, the world serpent, whose body encircles the earth, is Thor's enemy. When Ragnarok arrives, the sea overflows, the sky breaks apart, the monsters are unleashed, and Jörmungandr rises from the ocean, its venom falling upon the sky and the land. Thor, wielding Mjolnir, advances to face it, because this is written in his destiny. The serpent attacks with fangs and poison. The battle is brutal and direct. After a fierce struggle, Thor achieves the impossible. He kills Jörmungandr. However, even though the god of thunder is not devoured and fulfills his mission, he walks 9 steps and suddenly falls. He is dead because no one escapes their fate. Did you know there was a time when revenge was legal? In Viking society, family revenge was allowed in certain cases. If someone killed a member of your family and no legal agreement was reached, retaliation was considered valid. But this was not chaos. There were rules. Clear limits existed. Proportionality was expected. It was not about rage, but about responding to harm. The goal was not to kill out of hatred. It was to restore lost honor in the eyes of the community. And here is the key detail. If revenge went too far, the avenger could end up outlawed. Where did a Viking slave get money from? Although it may sound contradictory, some slaves were allowed to manage goods. But be careful, this was not a right. There are documented cases where slaves worked as artisans, blacksmiths, carpenters, fishermen. Others took part in local trade, always on behalf of their master. In some cases, they received a very small share of what was produced. That money did not legally belong to them, but it could accumulate if the master allowed it. With enough time, years or even decades, some managed to gather the agreed amount to buy their freedom. Did you know that Vikings never actually wore horned helmets? Simple iron helmets have been found, but never with horns. If you think about it, wearing a helmet like that would cause more problems than benefits. They would easily get caught, make it easier for an enemy to grab your head, and could unbalance the weight during battle. The mistake originates in the 19th century, when Europe romanticized a barbarian past, and operas needed something visual and exaggerated that could be seen from far away, and horns were a perfect solution. Over time, people became used to that image. Cinema continued using it, and that's how we ended up imagining great Vikings wearing horned helmets today. Do you know what real Viking bodies were like? Comment Thor. The most spectacular Viking punishment may have never existed. You've probably heard of the blood eagle. The victim was tied face down, their back was opened, the ribs were separated from the spine like wings, and the lungs were pulled out, forming an eagle. The reason? It was not a common punishment. It was supposedly used as a ritual of vengeance, an extreme offering to Odin, to humiliate the enemy even after death. But here's the problem. There is no physical evidence. Everything comes from late and poetic texts. It may never have happened that way, or it may never have existed at all. Comment eagle to learn about more punishments. Did you know that Vikings wore makeup? Yes, that's right, but not for what you think. Viking makeup was not war paint or a movie invention. They used kohl, a dark eyeliner made from minerals like charcoal mixed with fat. It did not originate in Scandinavia. It arrived through trade and contact with other cultures and was adopted. In the 10th century, an Arab diplomat, Ibn Fadlan, observed the Rus of the Volga and wrote something down. Men and women lined their eyes, not as a ritual, but as something normal. This makeup helped reduce glare from the sun on water, snow, and ice, like the eye-black athletes use today. Did you know what Ragnarok really meant? Ragnarok was not symbolic. It was a real event that was going to happen. According to their mythology, an eternal winter would come. Gods would fight each other. Odin would die, Thor too, and the world would be destroyed, preparing it for repopulation. But this did not cause panic. It caused preparation. Accepting death as part of the natural order. Ragnarok was not about the end of the world. It was about how to face it. Dying while fighting was better than surviving without war.